listeners. This is the Dream Stream of Consciousness podcast. I am Yiskah Koock.
And I am Carla Mazzeo.
Dr. Carla Mazzeo, wonderful to have you on again.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I know that you have a dream you want to
I
share.
do. I have a dream, and actually, it's to me, it may speak to your dream, which in this dream it was very synchronistic. And so I guess it really is nice to be able to share the two
Yes.
in similar proximity.
And just to say that she is referring to Dream Stream 165, which we did just prior to this one. And this will be 166. So,
All right,
please.
so I will jump in.
Yes.
This dream was last month. It was in April. And in this dream, I was visiting you. I drove to your old house, and you were in your house, and your ex was there. You were a couple, and I saw you. You were coming outside. You were very balanced. You were walking unassisted, and your hair was blonde. And inside, your ex was yelling through the window, hello. Like you guys were saying hello because I had pulled up, and then you were coming towards me. And he stayed inside. And it was just like a very friendly, regular social, even not just typical, but even, I guess more uplifted, kind of in that, not a party, but very uplifted place. And your hair first was blonde. I was like, oh, you did your hair blonde, and it looked nice. And you had nice clothes on, and just so as you approached me to where I was, I had just stepped out of my car. Then your hair changed color, and it was dark hair with some blonde or like very light streaks, two white streaks
Oh,
on either side.
that's cool.
Kind of like a black and white.
Yeah.
And you looked good. We looked good. I was wearing a strange outfit for me, which was all cream color. It was all the same color. And I had slippers on. I had my indoor like slippers, which matched. So it was all cream.
Your cream colored slippers also.
Yeah, yeah. And so then later that day, that was the dream. And I want to share, there's a sequence to this dream. I'll call it an encounter, because I was preparing to have a meeting later that day with a retreatant who I was meeting for the first time. And then after I met with the retreatant, I had another dream where I was speaking with a friend of mine, and I was telling him about the dream I had a few days prior in the new dream. So I'm just going to do it one step at a time. And I kind of do like to call it an encounter because it seems like a full experience.
Yes.
So later, after this dream, I was having a meeting with the retreatant in, waking life. And when I met with this person for the first time, her hair was the exact same color and pattern as what I experienced you had in the dream.
At the car.
At the car. Yes, at the car, at the vehicle. And so that was the first time I saw this potential retreatant, that we were going to have the retreat 2 days following.
Are we still talking about sleeping dreams, or is this part of the encounter, but it happened?
Waking So the dream ended where you and I were standing at the car, and I look down and I see what I'm wearing, and we were just chatting at the car. That was the dream. And then waking life,
Okay.
I had a online meeting with a new potential
Yes,
person, and then they had the exact same hair color.
that's fascinating.
And then
My psychic friend.
that's where I say it was like an encounter. It was fascinating. And we were able, after the meeting online, the Zoom meeting, we decided, yes, we're going to go ahead with the retreat. It seemed like a good match.
Yes,
And then we had an amazing retreat experience
wonderful.
together. And that was also had so many synchronistic and healing aspects to it. It was just lovely to be a
Mm.
part of that process and to be a guide to
To help
her in that.
facilitate someone
Yeah,
else's process.
it was just,
Beautiful.
and so many, to me, the spiritual pieces really come to life. Like they just keep popping the whole time.
Yes.
And yeah, so
Well,
yeah. So then the day of the retreat, I had another dream.
okay.
And I'll I'll just leave the piece um of talking with one of my friends who happens to be also a colleague, a psychologist, about the dream and the experience I
Right.
had
Yes.
prior, because I had wanted to share that. And then it went into
That was the dream dreamed on the first night of the retreat. Is that what
yeah,
you said?
the morning of
Okay.
yeah,
Oh,
the
yes.
morning
Yes.
of the
Of the
first
first
day of
day.
the retreat.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Hmm.
And
Can you tell me about that friend that you were telling about
sharing
your,
the dream with,
yes.
yeah, he's someone that we shared office space many years ago, and just we worked at the college together. So I've also known him for decades, and
Mhm.
just a very sweet, um, lovely person. Just, he does have that nurturing vibe
Mhm.
to him. Um, just
Yes.
very,
Yes.
and we always got along really well and would chat about things and
Yes.
have lots of conversations and
Yes.
um, you
And
know.
now, if I'm the dreamer in the dream, I'm telling him I had an interesting dream the night before or 2 nights before.
Mhm,
Well, and so he's someone I share dreams with. If I'm the dreamer,
mhm.
you share your dreams with each other.
I haven't as recently, but
Right.
yes, he is definitely part of my dream group,
Yes. Yes.
that he comes from time to time, and then I'll tell him in real life, I had a dream and you visited, or you were,
I love it.
you
Yes. So it's just so
he's a
interesting
very
now.
rational, logical person.
Okay, good. Yeah. So I want to go back to the first dream of yours, and we
Mhm.
can tie it into the whole experience.
Yeah,
But
and I
what
will go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, what does blonde hair bring up for you? Was it platinum blonde? Was it
It's like
dirty brown?
golden, kind of like
Yeah,
a golden. It was a very pretty color.
yeah,
That it was kind of like striking, like the sun rays, kind of
yeah. Oh,
golden, or
love that.
wheat in a field type
Yeah,
of thing.
love that.
Um,
And and then the hair turns dark with two
Yeah, then it's
silver
dark
streaks,
with two, yeah, very, very,
or
very
like white.
like yeah, like
Y-
white, like
Yeah.
bleach blonde streaks. And I
And
was
what
like,
is
oh,
like,
that's a different look, but it looked really good. I was like, oh, that's neat also.
if this were my dream and then my experience after the fact, there are many places in a dream where we can foretell future things, and that doesn't have to mean anything. It just is like, oh yeah, I saw, oh, I knew this woman would come. I knew I take it, if this were my dream, it would feel like a foretelling that this woman would be coming and that it would be a meaningful retreat.
Theory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
experience. Hmm.
And that what happened to unfold during the retreat were there were similarities between this person that I was um, working with on the retreat and things that I um, have talked with you about over the
Okay,
years, like observed with you. So there were
interesting.
parallels between her and you that I didn't know was going to happen.
Yes,
And that it was very, um,
somehow the dream also foretold that, or
yeah,
not foretold. It wasn't foretelling. It was gave a
it was really spot on. It
feeling.
was spot on. And it had
Yeah,
to do with nurturance.
love that.
It had to do with nurturance um, and taking in, sustenance, um, and,
Yes.
having that gaining voice
Mm.
and
Opening up
opening up
the
to
chakras.
fears, facing fears, challenges, sadness
Yeah.
about relationship, um,
Mm.
peace. And so, there were just certain things and breakthroughs throughout, and
Mm.
a lot of release of emotion, and then the healing piece.
For both she and you, or was it
It
just
was
you
for her, like
witnessing?
that
Yes.
was, I was there for
Yes.
her. But
Yes.
at the very end, on the last day, we were in a meditation and I started having tears stream
Mm.
down my cheeks and I could not stop them. Um,
Ah,
but it was very like it was love. I just felt an enormous amount of love and joy,
mm.
and that everything had come together in such a beautiful way
Yes.
that um, it's something either I hadn't felt before this level or I hadn't felt in
Mm.
a really long time. But I think it was actually a new thing because I'm in a different place, um, than ever in the past. I haven't run retreats. So
Right.
it was associated with the retreats and the level of
Maybe
connection
finding true calling.
that it felt, yeah, that I wanted to, so it was healing me
Yes.
also as the byproduct,
Yes.
which was really nice.
Makes me wonder.
And
Um,
that growth and connection, which is a lot having to do with women's developmental theory,
yes.
is that we grow in connection with others. There's a certain amount we can do on ourselves in our own
Mhm.
little island,
Mhm.
but that it is that relationship that is so powerful.
I love that. I see that also in the way women converse.
Yes.
It seems like we're always spiraling
Yeah, yeah,
around,
yeah, yeah.
coming back to a point. I just wanted to ask you because I've been really interested in a woman named Anna Breitenbach's interspecies communication,
Oh, okay.
and so she can relate with anything in nature, anything that has a life force. And so I was watching a video of hers, and she was at a bird rescue place, and there was a parrot that
Mm,
never wanted to go and fly free with the others, like
mm,
didn't get along with anyone, was just there. And she communicated with the parrot, and it seemed that its person that it was very bonded with had left it. And so
mm,
it was, and so Anna was communicating, wordlessly, psychically, and she started sobbing, just crying.
Mm,
And she felt like these are not my tears.
mm,
I'm crying his tears for him. This is what he's feeling.
mhm,
He's feeling, why do I need to be with other birds? I only ever wanted to be with my person,
mm.
and there's so much
Oh,
sadness in that bird, but I couldn't help
and
but
so
think
the
of that.
bird bonded with a human being, not another bird.
That's right. I
Yeah.
couldn't help but think of that when you were describing in the experience, just crying and weeping.
Mhm,
And I was like, oh, I wonder, just a question, am I weeping for the retreatant? Was she finally able to release all of the chains that held her in
mhm.
fear or sadness? Yeah, just a question.
Sure. Yeah, there was well, I had teared up the night prior in our during our last meal together.
Mm,
Well, I it was our last dinner because we had breakfast. But
mm,
during supper, when I I was concerned about some things about her and her health.
mm,
And um she wasn't really dealing with that.
mhm,
And I became tearful because I was really overtaken with my concern for her. When you work so
mhm.
closely with somebody, you
Yes,
really connect with them. And it's a
yes.
level of intimacy that is just very special.
Mm,
Um, and I really care about the people I work with. And so I I was moved to tears. They were different tears. It was tears of I'm really trying
mm.
to get through to you how important this is.
Yes,
And she
yes,
got it. And
yes.
she was able to receive it, and she appreciated it. And it was eye-opening
Mm,
for her, and kind of a
yes,
breakthrough that someone did pay attention so deeply
yes.
and did care so much, um, where other
Mm,
people missed it. They
yeah.
didn't take the time, or they didn't. So then the next day, it's bringing up tears now.
Oh,
Um,
beautiful.
and because I think that is special.
I think that's so special. And what our dream teacher, Stephen Larson, always taught us is let the tears flow.
Yeah.
Feel what
Well,
you're feeling.
I'm good with crying. I I
Ah.
got over that a long time. As a child, I was told, you shouldn't cry. I'm like, but why not? And yet
Right.
there's times where you have to be able to pull it yourself. Um, so yeah, I like navigating that space. And so,
It
and
sounds
she was
so
doing that the whole
meaningful.
weekend, with
Yeah.
tears and coming out and going
Will you
in.
do any follow up with
Oh yeah.
retreatants?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, I do. I always offer a follow-up meeting, um,
Yes.
and because to work further in the integration. And then I'm
Hmm.
available for drop-in sessions too. But this person has someone, I believe that they are working with,
Oh, good.
in a therapeutic way.
Hmm.
So I'm more of the guide, the retreat
The
guide,
guide. I
um,
love that
for
role
the
for you.
immersive breakthrough moments. But and the joy was really special. So I was thinking of your prior dream with dyeing hair,
Yes.
and here there's two different hair colors.
Yes.
And then one was my retreat, and the other was this golden. So the golden, the black and white is kind of all right. We're jumping in. We're doing
Hmm.
it. We're not.
Hmm.
We're here. We've
Hmm.
arrived, and it could be a
Yeah.
very golden place.
I think of it similarly as like a documentary film is often made of black and white on black and white film,
Mhm.
and so it's like some information here. Like
Mhm.
it feels more related to waking life
Yeah.
than
Well,
this.
this was the waking life. It was the
It was
dream and
first
the
in the
waking
dream.
life.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're saying. Yes.
Yes. I
Yeah.
can't help but think of Sister Golden Hair Surprise. Do you know that song?
No.
Well, I tried to tell him when I'm going to send it to you. It's wonderful. That's how I think of my daughter-in-law, golden haired,
Right? She has the golden hair.
lovely, lovely wife. So, wow, that's so. Are there any questions that you would like to know from this whole experience, or just the dream, or the two dreams?
Um, well, it's interesting that it brings um, how it goes from the dream to the waking life.
Yes.
How striking that is. And then it's her, it's a lot of the feminine energy, and then I have some of the male energy.
Mm.
Um, and and that and even in the other dream, I have to look. I don't want to take too much time of reading this.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah.
But there was something about kind of a cross dressing or some kind of male female piece.
Mm.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
there was something to that.
Yeah. It feeds into my question of, like, what does an intact household mean for you? If I'm still living in my old home, and still with my ex, and
Mhm.
it's putting the pieces back together somehow.
Right. That it was forward and back in time.
Mm.
That
Oh.
and that things aren't just linear.
Hmm.
So that I was so happy for you and your family.
Mm.
And that was like my wish. And that we were really bonded, like we were,
Mm.
you know, kind of the laughing, kind of giddy, like the teenage piece, but also the
Sisters.
adult piece of
Hmm.
these, we are strong women.
Hmm.
And we were able to pull this all together. And um and that the timing of it was right on. And
Yes.
so
And now, did the you were picturing my old house, and I had that big stairway going up to the house. The house
mhm,
is kind of up higher.
mhm,
Did Was that a noticeable thing for you in the dream at all? It seems like at the top of the stairway, I had golden hair. I come down the stairs, and then I have black and white
mhm,
hair. Did the
mhm,
stairway
mhm.
figure in at all?
Yeah, just that you were walking normally down the stairs.
Yes, thank you for reminding me that that's my favorite part about
Mhm.
this dream.
That you were
Yeah,
able, you had full function.
yeah,
And it was just such it was just like, yeah, of course. It was
I
kind of
love
like
it.
matter of fact, like, yeah, of course this was going to be.
Yes,
And
that's
so,
so
we were
special.
standing side by side.
Yes. And for me, because that's happened to me in dreams, I've told about a dream that I had had, even if it's the same night. I always say that's the fate of a dream worker. We're already working on our dreams the moment we wake up. Oh, I wonder what that means. And oh, I must remember this, because we find value in the content. But um but I think that I kind of lost my train there. I i just, that kind of thing of like telling about, oh, I remember what I was thinking, is like, to me, that tells me that there's something in that dream that maybe I didn't see the first time thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
that because I'm telling it again, so that's making it relevant to me
Mm-hmm.
again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and I love it. And I often say this as well. The Talmud says nothing befalls an individual that hasn't already happened in a dream, but
Mm-hmm.
often we can't see it,
Mm-hmm.
when we can maybe get a felt sense of, oh, I think this might be connected to that.
Mm-hmm.
But in this dream, I love how black and white it is
Was
that
clear. And it
we
was
are
so
seeing it.
timely, right? It was the timely piece of the dream, then the meeting. the confirmation in the meeting
Yeah.
of the hair color,
Hmm.
and then the relationship, the struggles the person was having overlap. And then
Oh, that's interesting because I think you were mentioning that she was having a troubled loss of relationship,
Mhm,
and that might be also connected to me because
mhm,
the loss of
mhm.
my family.
That she had questions about, right, the relationship and about the nurturing. So she was
Mm,
in a place of, um, and this is where I thought of your other dream prior of
yeah.
um, creating balance
Uh,
and that balance. And then I have to look at that for me too, my own balance
sure.
of
Sure.
of healing and energies and um, you know, positive things and things that I can improve upon, um,
Yes.
that I can, that I may struggle with, or different ways of going about things.
Mm. Yeah, it really feels, if this is my dream, my experiences, it really feels like the crying went so deep in me, and I really feel like it opened me up as the facilitator and the guide, and because I can see how meaningful it was now that I've been working with more people.
Mhm.
So I think that you're being sculpted by a greater
Something.
force.
There is something, because the retreat I had a few months back, I kept hearing this name of the person,
Hmm.
um, and it was their like first and middle name. It was like combined, but I kept hearing
Okay.
it. And this person's parent had recently passed away. And I said,
Okay.
I have to mention this. I keep hearing this name in my head.
Yeah.
And she looked at me. She said, oh my gosh, that's what my parent who passed away used to call me.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, there's some kind of
Just it.
synchronistic
Yeah.
thing
It's
of
the
the
world.
waking and the,
God has a job for you.
and for us, I think
Yes.
you're tied into this.
Oh,
Um,
right.
because it that transverse the waking and the dream,
My
and so
gray
that's
really
where I
is
tied to you in your dream of your
right.
hair dye with two other women,
Yeah.
um and
Yeah.
that
Right.
there's the piece of so the nurturing and the sustenance,
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
kind of breaking some of those chains and
Yes.
liberating oneself. So
Yes.
right.
I just love working with you on all of this stuff. So you are not afraid to go deep in, and I want to laugh about it, which, you know, isn't always appropriate.
Well, sometimes the humor is, it allows us to
Open up
take it
even.
in a way that may be a little uncomfortable at first.
Hmm.
So we kind of laugh at it, but I think the key is that we contemplate deeply, and then we
Hmm.
can oscillate, right? Because if it feels threatening, we can
Right?
use the levity, but we could still go to the depth and the
That's
levity
right.
and the depth. Um,
That reminds me of something my teacher, Rabbi Gershon Winkler, who I was very close with, he used to say, he's a very funny guy. He's funnier than like, I mean, he used to love Lenny Bruce. He's got
mm,
that kind of wit,
mm,
and he's, and someone asked him, well, why, why this whole like humor thing? And then you go deep into Kabbalah. And he was like, well, first, I want to open people up by laughing and like kind of lose your guard.
mhm,
He's like loosening your guard
mhm,
before he then
mhm.
teaches the the really
Yeah,
esoteric stuff.
perfect. Right. Yes. And that's with the retreats, is there was the ebb and flow of the real depth and deep pain, fears, emotional release, and then the levity bringing it up, and then it's going down and bringing it up.
Mhm.
And at our final
Mm.
supper, I was really moved to tears, impressing upon her the urgency of her situation. And
Mm.
that it can really get to a critical place, and um that I care about her, and that I want what's good for her. I want her to live, to be successful,
Yeah.
especially if it's life threatening. Um,
Yeah.
and
Ah,
uh, yeah, and so it's all there, right? It's like Shakespearean.
it is. Yeah. It's
It's all there.
both a comedy and a drama.
Definitely, definitely.
Yin and
Yeah,
yang.
yeah.
You don't realize it because obviously, well, maybe you could see yourself. You have this golden lamp right over your head.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like
Oh yeah.
spirit is coming into you. It looks almost like it's dripping down into you. Check out YouTube, SoundCloud listeners, if you want to see what I'm talking about. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
sharing that.
you. Thank
It's
you.
wonderful.
It was really special and very profound, and something that definitely lingers.
Let's put ways to get in touch with you for doing these women's retreats into the show notes so
Okay.
any of our listeners can do that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, I love doing them. I love working with people this way.
Yes.
It's
So
really
it's such a gift, especially if people are coming out of the city to
Mhm,
be in the country. And
yes, to be immersed.
so many things about it are so
Yeah,
life giving.
right. Yeah. People come from other states too.
Ah, I love that. That's wonderful.
Sometimes they just need to get away, to a
Sure.
whole different, place to be in,
Absolutely.
and to feel safe. Safety is the key. To feel
And to
safe,
feel seen,
nurtured, comforted.
nurtured. You're making all the food. You're, very present with the people that you work with.
Mhm.
So wonderful. I will look forward to having that in the notes. Is there anything else that you
Um,
want to know or
I
want
think
to say?
I just tying back to your prior episode dream stream
Hmm.
podcast of you and living, and I wonder how that may tie in here with this experience of mine, where you are contemplating
Okay.
your path in life,
That's
um,
very interesting.
and your healing journey, and that um yeah, so
Yeah.
just
So to be
continue.
continued for the
Yeah.
rest of our lives.
All
Thank you
right.
so much,
Thank
Carla.
you. All right. Take care.
Take
Thank you,
care.
listeners.
Thanks for joining us, dreamers, and sweet dreams. Hola mode, me tukin.